Revenge films.
I'm Bob from the West Coast. I have two brothers. Our house got damaged pretty bad during the big earthquake a few years back. Took us a while to fix it up. Then, a few years later, I won the lottery! I always loved buying lottery tickets. I've been buying them every year since I can remember. I couldn't believe it when I won. I ran back to my house and told everyone the good news. We thought about building a new house. But my older brother moved to the city for work, and my younger brother left the state to go to college. It was just me and my parents, so maybe we didn't need such a big house. So we decided to get a nice condominium in the city. We sold our old place. We all split the money evenly. We each got around $60,000 after taxes. Then I used the money I won and bought a nice place in the city. A few years later, my older brother got married. And a few years after that, my younger brother got married. Right after my older brother got married, Mom got into an accident. Her right arm got messed up pretty bad. Dad decided to retire early so we could both help her out with housework. A few years later, both my brothers had kids. And my older brother moved back here for work, so we often had little get-togethers at my place. My parents loved seeing their grandkids. Mom was doing much better now too. Life was good. But then, things started to go south when my older brother's wife started coming into the picture. I never had a good feeling about her. She was always really mean to me. She'd say mean things to me when nobody was around, and she was a bad influence on my younger brother's wife, too. She was nice to me at first, but she started harassing me, too. They made fun of me for being a nerd, and being single didn't help either. But they always pretended to be all cheerful and nice in front of my parents. They always complimented my mom for her cooking and how she kept the house so clean. It was pretty annoying since it was mostly me and my dad who did things around the house. Then, one summer vacation...
This place is pretty big, but all his stuff, it's taking up so much space.
Yeah, I know he can move out and get his own place, and we can move in. We can help you with things around the house.
They were both staring at me. Wait, they're actually asking me to leave? So I said to my dad, "Wait, so if I leave, where will you guys go?" "You can't leave! I'm gonna leech off of you until I die!" Everyone except for the two of them laughed out loud. They had no idea what was going on. I don't blame them though. If this was their place, they'd probably jump at the opportunity. But that wasn't the case. They thought the condo belonged to my parents, so they were both sucking up to them, hoping they'd leave the place to them in their inheritance. Since I paid for the place, in cash, the house was paid for already. No wonder they were sucking up to them so much. And my dad and I kept the place clean all the time. It was like a 5-star hotel room. And Dad was always cleaning the house. After he quit his job, he realized how much he loved to clean. He's always buying new detergents and stuff at the grocery store. And I enjoyed cleaning too. So the house was in great condition. They probably thought if they kicked me out, they had a pretty good shot at taking over the place. Too bad the place is under my name. Both my brothers threw pretty big weddings. They had used up all the money they got from the old house. I was single, so I knew nothing about weddings, but $60,000? That sounds kind of expensive. Oh well, not for me to say. Anyways, they really wanted to move in here. A few days later, when my brothers told them that I was the owner, they were really surprised. They asked how I came up with that kind of money. They probably thought I got a bigger share of the inheritance or something. Since there was nothing to hide, they told them about how I won the lottery. And I didn't mind that they told them. By the way, my brothers never tried to leech off of me after I won the lottery. Even after they used up all their money on their weddings. It was my money, and they respected that. I never once had money troubles with my family. But when their wives found out...
Ask him to give us some money. We need it more than him.
Ask him if we can move in with him. Then we don't have to pay rent. I'll help you guys take care of your mother too.
But they didn't listen to them. Thank goodness. Then, a year later, my older brother's wife cheated on him. He lawyered up, got a divorce, and kicked her out of his house. But raising a kid while working full-time wasn't possible, so I let him crash at my place for a while. My parents were always home, and they were more than happy to look after their grandson. As for my younger brother, he started saving up to get his own place. And since his wife said that she was willing to take care of our mom, he told my mom she could move in with them if she wanted to. You said you'd take care of my mom, right? Not sure if she meant that, but hope they don't get a divorce or anything because of it. Oh well, that's for them to figure out, so not my problem. My older brother's ex-wife still comes to our house from time to time, but every time she comes over...
Oh, it's his birthday soon. He wants a new toy, but it's pretty expensive. Oh, wow! Is this the new model? Our vacuum cleaner is so old. I want to get a new one, but you know.
She's always trying to leech off of me. A birthday gift for my nephew? Fine. I loved him too. But a vacuum cleaner for her? Hell no! I mean, she tried to kick me out once. Did she really think I'd help her out? I just ignored her and said, "Oh, that's too bad. Good luck." She rarely got what she wanted. I still think my brothers married the wrong women, but it's not for me to say. I still loved my brothers, and as long as they were happy, I was happy. By the way, I still had a lot of money left over, even after buying this place. Maybe I'll get married in the future. Or my brother might get remarried. Who knows? Either way, I'm gonna save it up so I can use it for the people I care about.
I have 2 older brothers. This is Alex. He was the diligent type. His blood type was A. He was very kind and rarely got mad. But when he did get mad, things kinda got out of control. This is Bob. His blood type was B. He was married, but he was always borrowing money from Mom to party. And they hated each other. Alex wanted to do everything the right way, but Bob didn't really care about anything. They were the complete opposite. Sometimes, Bob asked Alex to lend him money. They were family, but Alex always got an IOU from him. He was fine with lending him money, as long as he paid him back. And Bob needed him, so he always paid him on time. Once I asked him why he was being so nice to him. He said, if I say no, he'll just go to some sketchy loan shark, and Mom will end up paying it for him. Then one day, Bob drank the expensive wine Alex was saving for a special occasion. Alex got angry, but Bob didn't even apologize. Mom was home, so she came and told them both to stop fighting. They settled down after that, but then Bob started drinking his wine again right afterwards. Mom told him to stop, but he just kept laughing. He was kind of drunk. Then Alex showed up. Without saying a word, he grabbed the bottle and struck Bob in the head with it. Bob had to get 15 stitches. Mom started freaking out. She thought he was dead. He got rushed to the hospital, but Alex didn't seem to be worried at all. After that, Bob stopped messing with Alex. Finally, Alex could enjoy his wine without having to worry about Bob. 3 years later, Bob got married and his wife, Blair, my sister-in-law, moved into our house. She went to high school with him. She was just like him, and I mean that in a bad way. She was always partying, with or without Bob. She had a part-time job, but she kept all the money to herself. She never did anything around the house. All she did was complain. Her room was a mess and she ate so much. Then, she started stealing stuff from our room. She was selling them online for some fast cash. We told her many times to stop, but she didn't listen. Oh, come on. We're family, she'd say. So, I hesitated whenever I wanted to buy something expensive. It would just end up in her hands. I wouldn't mind if she gave it back, but something had to be done. So, I talked to Bob about it. But it was useless. Bob didn't even care. Mom and I didn't know what to do about her. Then, she snuck into Alex's room. He didn't have a lot of clothes, but there was the silver ring he had for a long time. But Blair sold them all. I noticed that the rings were gone when I went into his room to borrow a DVD. I asked Blair and she told me everything without hesitation. Uh-oh. You made a big mistake. Then, Alex came home.
Have you seen my silver rings?
He asked me. I didn't know what to do. Either way, things weren't going to end well. Before I could say anything, he asked the same thing to Blair.
Have you seen my ring?
I sold them all. I got a pretty good price for it. Thanks. Then, Alex slapped her. She went flying across the room. I couldn't even move. Alex grabbed her by the throat and lifted her up.
I'll ask you again. Where are my rings?
She had no idea what was going on. Then he slapped her again.
My rings.
He didn't raise his voice, but you could tell that he was pissed. What the hell?
My rings.
I'll sue you!
My rings.
When Bob hears about this...
My rings.
He kept asking her the same thing over and over again. He wasn't gonna stop until she told him where his rings were. By the time he was done with her, her face was swollen up.
Bring them back to me by the end of the day. All of them.
As instructed, she got all 10 of them back to him. When Bob came home and saw Blair, he was shocked. Then Alex showed up with his favorite bottle of wine.
Come on, drink with me.
He told him. Then he explained everything that happened.
Next time be careful, okay?
He said with a big smile on his face. Then he started walking towards his room to go to bed.
Go to bed.
He said as he passed by me. Looks like Bob and Blair learned their lesson. They had a long talk after that. I could hear them from my room. What the hell is wrong with him? You should have told me he was crazy! What? You're the one that stole from him in the first place. And after that, she stopped stealing from us altogether. I guess Alex really got to her. They wanted to move out, but they had no savings. But Blair was terrified of Alex. She wanted to move out ASAP. She finally started saving up to get an apartment. And when she found out that Bob was borrowing money from Alex... Just pay him back and be done with it! I want you to stay away from him! I guess she was really terrified of him. I don't blame her. He beat her up pretty good, so... If she hadn't stolen from him, everything would have been fine. Blair never did anything around the house, but Alex didn't seem to care. She used to hang out in the living room, but now she went back into her room whenever Alex was there. She even started helping us with the housework. I guess she's really scared of Alex. And Bob was terrified of him too. I guess seeing Blair like that reminded him of what had happened years ago. He barely came out of his room anymore. As for Alex, everything seemed normal. It was kind of scary. I mean, I'm glad he taught her a lesson and all, but still. He didn't even hesitate to hit her. It's kind of scary. But he was always nice to me. He always bought me birthday presents and stuff. I guess the lesson here is, don't mess with Alex.
The other day, something came up at work. It took me all day to clean up the mess. And when I finally got back, the lights were out. And everyone was gone. I was hoping someone filled in for me, but all my papers were still on my desk. So I had to stay there another hour going through the documents. The next morning, I reported my findings to the manager in the morning meeting. Then I asked him if my colleagues could help me catch up with some of my paperwork. That's your problem! You should have thought about that beforehand! He yelled at me. He was always yelling at people. But I had a feeling that he especially didn't like me. But he's the one that told me to handle the emergency yesterday. So I said to him, "What? But you told me to deal with that thing yesterday! You knew I was coming back late! This is on you, not me! You saying I messed up? Is that it?" "Yes, you told me to go deal with the emergency. You knew that I'd be gone all day long. You could have assigned some of my work to the others. You're the manager. That's your job. Don't blame me for this." I always spoke my mind, and I guess he didn't like that. He glared at me and said, "I was sure you could handle it, but I guess I was wrong about you." Whatever. I decided to let it go and move on. After the meeting was over, I said to him on my way out, "You still got a lot to learn as a manager." He seemed surprised that I said that. He glared at me, but I ignored him and went back to my desk. I started catching up on some of my paperwork. But then my colleagues came to me, offering to help. I couldn't keep them for overtime, so I let them go when the bell rang. "Thanks, guys. I'll get you guys drinks at the end of the month." It took me until midnight, but I finished everything on time and went home. But when I got in the car, something wasn't right. The car was tilted. I stepped out of the car. One of my tires was busted. It looked like someone poked a hole in it with a sharp object. There were fingerprints on the fender as well. I knew exactly who did this. Who else could it be? I was furious! I wanted to go home already, but I wanted to handle this first. So I went back to the office and called the cops. I waited for them to arrive in the parking lot. "It happens. Did you run into any trouble today at work?" Actually, yeah. I think I know who did it. But I think I got this under control. You guys can go. But just one thing. Could you turn on the siren when you leave? They seemed confused at first, but soon they understood what I was going for. Ah, gotcha. We'll go around the parking lot a few times before heading home. We'll make sure everyone can hear us. Then they got back in their car, drove around the parking lot, and left. Some of my colleagues working late were staring out the window. They knew something was up. As I was fixing my tire, some of them came down. What was that about? The cops were here. Did something happen? I pointed at my tire. Wow, that sucks. Yeah, not sure who it was. But the police said they're going to start investigating tomorrow. So I'm sure they'll catch whoever did this. Sorry to hear that. Hope everything works out for you. Thanks. The trap was set. The next day, everyone was talking about the incident. Someone got his car!
What do you mean? What happened?
His tire got slashed. The cops came and everything. While everyone else was talking, the manager was panicking. I knew it! It was him, all right.
So scary! Right, sir? You should be careful too.
Yeah! The look on his face, it was priceless. After that, I just waited for him to make a move. During lunch, he came over to my desk. Heard the police was here. What happened? Oh, someone slashed my tire. I had to call the cops and file for damages. It took them forever to collect all the fingerprints and stuff. I barely had time to sleep. He started to panic. Was it you, sir? Because I talked back to you? Just kidding. I know you wouldn't do that. He looked down in silence. Then he whispered to me, "How much for you to drop all this?" Well, for starters, I want a raise. And a promotion. A big one, I whispered back to him. I can't just do that! It's not possible! Oh, come on, I'm sure you'll figure it out. Cut your own pay if you have to. Otherwise, the deal's off. Okay, fine. He was tearing up. I finished my lunch and stood up. Okay then, looking forward to it. Good luck. I never filed for damages, so nothing happened. But if I had, he would have lost his job, so he should be grateful. And after everything I've been through, I'd say he got off easy. After that, he stopped harassing me. He was constantly worried about me. It made things so much easier at work, and I was really happy about that. I just wanted to put this behind me and move on. Glad he learned his lesson. This happened about 10 years ago. That's when that tragic incident occurred. I just happened to be there that day, and that incident is always on my mind. Sometimes I get flashbacks of that time, and it really gets me down. This is what happened. It was when I was in the 3rd year of university, and summer vacation was just around the corner. Hey, Ori! If you're free during the summer vacation, you want to come over and work part-time again? I got that call from a friend who was 3 years my senior. He got married to a local girl right after graduation. He worked at his father-in-law's factory, and in summer, the factory got pretty busy. Every year during that time, he would call and offer me a part-time job. The pay was pretty decent, and he would treat me to dinner, so how could I refuse? He was working at the factory and also living with his wife's family. While I was working there, I had a chance to meet his wife a few times when she visited the factory. She's pretty in a sort of natural way and looks the part of a company owner's daughter. She seemed quiet and intelligent. She seemed completely different from my friend, who was a lot more flashy and outgoing. Actually, that contrast seemed to fit them perfectly. She did have a younger brother who was younger than me. However, he never showed his face at the factory and did not hear anything good about the guy. When the younger brother was in junior high, he was going out with this girl who was a senior in high school. But it turned out that this girl was two-timing him. Apparently, this guy was a well-known leader of some local gang. One thing led to another, and the two-timing affair came to light. As a result, the younger brother was beaten to a pulp. So badly, in fact, that he landed in the hospital. After that, he was always looking over his shoulder, and even afraid to walk outdoors. And then he became a so-called hikikomori, or recluse. That's when the incident occurred. After work, my friend took me out to dinner. Later, at around 2100 hours, I arrived home. At 2200 hours, I was fast asleep. Then at 2300 hours, my mobile phone started to ring. The call was from my friend. I was wondering what it was all about when he simply said, "Come over here and stop me!" Couldn't figure out what the hell he was talking about, to be honest. And with that, I hung up. What the hell was that about? I headed toward their house, which was directly adjacent to the factory, where I usually worked. When I got there were a bunch of people standing around, some in PJs. It seemed serious, so nobody had gotten too close to whatever was happening. I sent a message to my friend informing him that I arrived, and then headed into the house. Then, "I'm sorry! I'm sorry! Please forgive me!" I saw my friend's younger brother-in-law sitting there half naked and bashed up pretty badly, crying his eyes out. My friend was standing over him, saying with an angry expression, "I'll never forgive you! You're finished!" Right next to him stood his father-in-law, with an equally furious expression on his face. Then over in the corner, I could see my friend's wife sitting there with a towel around her shoulder, seemingly half naked. And next to her sat her mother, apologizing to her profusely.
I'm so sorry. So sorry.
All I could manage was, "Hey, what's up?" Our eyes met, but he didn't seem to recognize me, and just stared fiercely at the younger kid. He proceeded to kick the younger kid as he lay on the ground. "Please stop!" he said pleadingly, but in response, "Yeah! Yeah!" My friend just continued to kick him. Is this what he meant by, "Come over and stop me"? With that thought, I carefully approached my friend. "Hey, bud, please! That's enough!" I tried to stop him and held onto his arm. But my friend pushed my arm away and slammed me to the ground, where I hit my head pretty hard. The father suddenly came to his senses and came toward me. "Oh no! You okay, Ore?" With that, my friend finally came to his senses. "Oh, you're here. Sorry about that." "Didn't you notice me? Our eyes met, right?" It seems my friend was so worked up that he didn't even notice I was there. Luckily, I've got a head like a steel helmet. When I hit the wall, I actually put a hole in it. So I kind of feel bad about that. As everyone seems to have calmed down, the ambulance and police arrived on the scene. I eventually left after it all calmed down. A few days later, my friend and his father-in-law came over to apologize. "Man, I'm so sorry to call you over so suddenly, and on top of that, for getting you hurt." They proceeded to tell me the whole story. It appeared that the younger brother attacked his sister. It had all apparently began in elementary school, when the younger brother broke up with that older girl. After getting beaten to a bloody pulp by that gang leader, he became such a scaredy cat and couldn't even go to school. He was so enamored by the love for that older girl that he couldn't bear it any longer. As a result, he attacked his older sister. At first, the sister fought back fiercely, but the younger brother had studied judo as a kid and was no pushover. When being held down by such strength, that woman couldn't thwart his advances. This continued for some time. His sister no longer had the will to resist, and the younger brother did what he pleased. If she was so appalled by it, why didn't she just talk to her parents about it? Apparently, she was threatened.
You tell our parents and you'll be beaten even more! Got that?
That's why she was unable to say anything. But with the arrival of the White Knight in the form of her new husband, the younger brother was no longer able to continue his wicked ways, and the newlyweds were safe from harm. It seemed that since they were so happy now, she would just let bygones be bygones. But the brother couldn't resist, and reverted to his old ways. What's weird is that this all happened in the home while everyone was there. On that day, apparently, they were all home. The father and son were at the dinner table enjoying a beer. The mother had finished the kitchen chores and was relaxing and watching TV, and she kinda just dozed off.
I'm going to bed.
She then headed up to her bedroom. It seems there, the younger brother snuck in and attacked her. This was presumed the first time it happened since the two were married. She thought that if she continued to look the other way and not say anything, it would hurt her husband in the long run. So when he attacked, she let out a blood-curdling scream.
Help!
The younger kid was taken aback, and he grabbed his clothes and rushed out of the room. But when the lights in the room went on, standing there were my friend and his father-in-law, glaring menacingly at the younger brother.
What the hell do you think you're doing?
The father-in-law was the first to raise his fists. Before proceeding any further, my friend messaged me, and with the father by his side, he started to pummel the kid with his fists. It was then that my friend grabbed the kid's exposed family jewels and squeezed them like ripe plums. Ugh. He let out a blood-curdling scream and fell to the ground, and he promptly passed out. I immediately gasped upon hearing that. Instinctively, I put my hands protectively around my private parts. I was horrified, and I couldn't bear to hear it any longer. Was your brother okay after that? The father-in-law spoke up with conviction.
I don't care what happens to a guy like that. A guy who would attack his own sister. Disgusting.
I can imagine the outcome after such a pathetic incident. The brother, of course, repented. The police showed up, but the father explained that it was simply a family matter, and no charges were pressed. His sister was just hoping that if she'd stay away from him, everything would be fine. She said all she wants to do is forget the whole sordid affair, for good. She says she doesn't want to hear or speak of it any longer. Yeah, I could understand her side. I mean, having to go through all the legal hassles and so forth. All the unsavory details would be exposed to the public, and the process would just go on forever. How could she even attempt to forget it all? I feel sorry for her. My friend just looked down and seemed so sad. After that, the younger brother was sent away to live with a far-off relative.
Please, I'll never do it again. Please let me stay here. Please, I don't want to go to that place.
He pleaded with his parents to no avail.
Don't ever show your face here again.
With that, the father kicked him out of the house. It turns out that this far-off relative was none other than a Yakuza. So he gets his gonads squished and taken away by Yakuza. Boy, that's what you call ruining your life. It's been 10 years since that incident, and the brother is still at that relative's home. My friend and his wife had a second child, and the 6 of them are leading a happy family life. Me? I'm still single. Sometimes this incident crosses my mind, and my private parts ache, as if they're being squeezed like plums. Ugh.
I had a pretty good childhood, but when I turned 6, things started to fall apart. When my sister Katie was born, my parents shifted all their attention to her. Then, when I failed an entrance exam to a private elementary school, my parents started ignoring me. They acted like I didn't even exist. And my sister treated me like crap, too.
You're so lame, sis.
My grandma always stood up for me, but they didn't listen to her. My grandma basically raised me. She paid for everything. She even put me through college. I wanted to leave the house and get my own place after graduating, but...
Moving out? You joking? You know how much money we spent on you?
Yeah, you're staying here until you pay off all your debt.
They took my bank passbooks and ATM card. The money my grandma gave me was in there too. What's the point of getting a job if they have total control over my money? I started working, but I was pretty upset about this. Then one day...
Allie! Allie? It is you! Remember me?
Of course I remembered him. He was very special to me back in middle school. He was smart and was good at sports. Everyone loved him, and he was so nice to everyone. I had a huge crush on him.
You didn't come to the class reunion. Glad to see you're doing well.
Class reunion? I guess my parents threw out the invitation.
Yeah, I'm planning the next one. You should come.
Sure.
Cool. Let me get your number.
Sure. After that, we started spending more time together. We ended up dating. When I introduced him to Grandma, she started crying from joy. It was kind of embarrassing. He made me forget about all the bad things in the world. I had so much fun when I was with him. I always hated going home after seeing him. Then...
Allie, will you marry me? I've always had a crush on you. When I didn't see you at the class reunion, I thought I'd never see you again, but... I was so happy when I ran into you in the city.
I was so happy. Finally, I could move out and live with the love of my life! Yes! A few days later, I introduced him to my parents. They were really surprised about this.
You work at Sukato Co. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's impressive.
They liked him right from the start. Then he said,
Thank you. So, could we get your blessing?
I couldn't believe what my dad said after that.
That's a whole different matter. She's our precious daughter. I can't just let her marry anyone.
What? He's only saying that because I bring them money.
I see, how about this? I'll move in here with you guys after we get married.
What?
Oh, I'm glad you understand. Okay then, you can marry my daughter. Thank you!
So we got married and he moved into our home. On his first day, he said to my parents,
If there's anything I can do to help, please don't hesitate to ask.
At first, their requests were normal. Things like, could you get me some light bulbs on the way home and stuff. But things started to escalate.
I want a new golf bag.
I want to go on vacation.
But he always said yes.
Of course.
He did everything they told him. Soon, they started being really nice to us because we gave them money and bought them stuff. On the other hand, they started treating my sister like crap because she didn't even pay rent.
What's wrong with you guys lately?
What's wrong with you, huh?
Yeah, stop leeching off of us. If you got a problem, get out of here.
Then my mom snapped at her. She seemed shocked. I don't blame her. They spoiled her all these years. What was she supposed to think? Soon, she stopped coming home. She was gone for half a year now, but my parents didn't even look for her. Then she finally came home. She was 7 months pregnant.
Who's the father?
Yeah, who is it?
Thought he was single, but turns out he was married.
What? Get out of here now! You're a disgrace!
Everyone started freaking out. Then Grandma came to visit.
What's going on here? The door was unlocked, so I let myself in.
Son, I got something to tell you. You know that elderly home I've been looking at? There's been an opening, so I'm moving there next month. I already found a buyer for the house. I'm using half of that money for the elderly home. I'm gonna give the rest to you two. And Katie. Yay! Thanks, Grandma. Mom, Dad, I'll give you my share of the money so I can stay here with the baby.
Oh, sure, I guess.
Oh, but this house is under Allie's name now, so it's up to her, I guess. What? So, Allie, what do you want to do?
I had already made up my mind. Get out.
How dare you! Whatever, we got her money. We'll just get a new house.
Oh, but hold on. The money I was planning to give to you, I left Allie's husband in charge of it. How much is in there right now?
It's almost gone. Golf bags, vacation, furniture. You guys bought a lot of expensive stuff, so...
No way!
What? That was our money! What the hell?
He told me about everything. I told him to stop buying things for you guys.
She knew him before we got married, so I guess she trusted her. By the way, my parents didn't have any savings. They always thought they'd get my grandma's money.
Please let us stay here. Please, we'll be homeless.
No way! I don't care how much money you pay me. I'm not living with you.
No!
They moved into some small, crappy apartment after that. Dad started working longer hours but got sick. They could barely pay for his hospital bills. Mom had no choice but to get a job. But it wasn't easy providing for a sick husband and a pregnant daughter. She called me almost every day asking me for money. I didn't give two shits about them. But I did feel bad for the baby.
What's all this?
Potatoes! It's very nutritious. Eat up! A few months later, we moved out of the country due to my husband's work. I no longer had to see my family. It felt so good. But I still kept in touch with Grandma. The thing is, she was lying about the elderly home. She bought a nice little place for herself. Looks like she was doing okay. Today, I live happily with my husband and my son. Glad everything worked out.
My boyfriend was very unstable, mentally. He was really nice when he was in a good mood.
Hey, I got you that doll you've always wanted.
Thanks. But when he was in a bad mood, he always took it out on me.
Allie, let's go out tomorrow.
Huh? I told you I'm going to see a movie with my friend Katie.
What? Your friend is more important than me?
What? No, that's not what I mean. It's just that I made plans with her before you, and on a good day, he'd just let it go. But I guess today was his bad day.
Are you seriously gonna pick your friend over me?
I promised her I'd go with her.
Fine then. So, you wanna break up, huh?
What? Stop putting words in my mouth. I had no choice. I called my friend and told her I'd make it up to her some other day. But I don't know. I think I'm getting pretty sick of this. It's not fun anymore being around him. I'm always upset. I'm always worried about his mood. But once I canceled my plans with my friend, he was suddenly in a good mood again.
Oh, I love you, Allie.
I didn't enjoy it one bit. But he was having fun. He even gave me a gift.
Here, I got you some earrings.
Huh? Earrings?
Yeah, just like mine.
I told you before, I'm allergic to metal, so I can't wear these.
Allergic to metal? Give me a break. Come on. If you love me, you'll put it on. Go on.
I can't. I'm allergic to metal.
I know. You're cheating on me.
What? Where did that come from?
Shut up! Put it on! Now!
Stop! Stop! But he grabbed me and he put the earrings on by force.
See? Looks good.
How could you? I said no. My right ear started to get red. I gotta go. My body started itching. I left him behind, went home, and took the earrings off. After sleeping for a few hours, I was feeling better. Then my friend came over. Hey, passed by your house and saw the lights were on, so... Hey, what happened to your ears? It's all red. You're allergic to metal. Why did you put on earrings? I told her what happened. I told her that I was thinking about breaking up with him. Screw him. Leave him. He's no good for you. But wait, I think you should get some revenge. Yeah, he has no idea what it's like to have allergies. I know. I've got an idea. I know how to teach him a lesson. Huh? Just leave it up to me. He hurt my best friend. He's gonna pay. I was done with him. He didn't even believe me when I told him about my allergy. Then he accuses me of cheating on him, then forces me to get earrings? Forget him. I wasn't sure what Katie was up to, but I invited my boyfriend over as instructed. It's so nice out. A great day for camping. We all went out camping together. But I had no idea what to do. We had never done this before. But Katie knew what she was doing. She set everything up for us. She was bossing my boyfriend around. Carry this next. Chop chop! Is this her plan? To boss him around and make him work? Then I heard my boyfriend scream. You okay? Did you fall?
Oh, I'm fine. Really.
He got up and patted himself down. Katie looked at me. What are you up to? You'll see. After he fell down, he got upset and went inside the tent. Katie and I cooked and went fishing. Camping was a lot of fun. Camping is awesome. The air out here is so fresh. I love it. I can never relax like this in the city. Right? My boyfriend got me into it. It's so much fun. We always go camping together. Sometimes I even go by myself. I got all kinds of camping gear. Yeah, sounds good. But how are you gonna get him back? Then he started screaming in the tent.
Gah! It itches! It itches!
We rushed over to him. He was scratching himself all over his body.
What is this? It itches like hell!
I think you landed on some poison ivy or something when you fell.
What? You kidding me?
Nope. Now you know how Allie felt when you forced her to get earrings. This is nothing compared to what she had to go through.
Gah! It itches! This is 100 times worse! Help me!
She told you she was allergic to metal. You could have killed her, you idiot. What the hell is wrong with you? You don't deserve her.
Who does she think she is? Tell her to leave.
Screw off. She's my best friend. And I'm leaving you, asshole.
No, help me! Take me to the hospital!
You got a car? Go right ahead. It's about a 30-minute drive, I think. I'm gonna stay here with Katie and enjoy the rest of our day.
What? You're gonna pick her over me?
Yes, I'm done with you. You want to go to the hospital? Fine, go there by yourself.
Gah!
Then he grabbed his stuff and drove off. After he left, we looked at each other and laughed out loud. Did you see the look on his face? I know, right? That was priceless. Thanks for this. Is he gonna be okay, though? Yeah, the itch will go away in a few hours. No worries. Little kids are always getting those things on their skin. That's where I got the idea from. Oh, good to hear. Yeah, hope that teaches him a lesson. Most definitely. Thanks for this. That felt so good. Sure thing. And I was pretty sick of him, too. He was always hogging you all to himself. Yeah, sorry about that. Don't mention it. Forget about him. Let's enjoy the rest of our day. So we went back to camping. I cooked rice on the stove for the first time, cooked the fish we caught, and had a nice little barbecue. I never spoke to him again after that. But the other day, when he saw us in the city, he just ran off. I guess we really scared him away. Thanks, Katie. You're a good friend.
My parents got married in their 30s. They had me in their late 30s, but they both wanted a girl. But when they found out that it was a boy, they tried to get an abortion. But they were old as is, and an abortion decreased their chances of getting pregnant again, so they had no choice but to have me. They always told me how I was an unwanted child, and they couldn't get pregnant after that. Years went by and they were in their mid-40s.
This is all your fault. Now we'll never have a daughter.
They yelled at me all the time, but when I was in middle school, they adopted a baby. After that, they never paid any attention to me. They even refused to pay for my high school. I had to get a job right after I graduated middle school. My parents treated me like crap. But both my grandparents were really nice, and so were the teachers I met in middle school. My grandparents took great care of me, actually. If it wasn't for them, I probably would have started hanging out with the bad crowd. It was nice to know that I had people who had my back. So yeah, I got pretty unlucky in terms of parents. But it wasn't all bad. My grandparents offered to pay for high school. I didn't want to leave my friends, so I thought about it for a while. But I ended up leaving town. I wanted to move out and start fresh somewhere else. After that, I saved up some cash and started going to night school to get my GED. I met lots of friends there, and the teachers were great. And when I started going out with this girl that I met there, I got a call from an old friend back home. He told me my parents were looking for me. They were asking around, trying to find out where I was and what I was doing. What now? Turns out my dad got fired. They were broke, so they wanted me to help them out financially. Plus, they were in debt too. They had some money saved up, but it was for my sister's college, so they couldn't spend that. That's why they came to me for help. I was surprised my friend knew all this. Looks like my parents came up with some sob story to get people to sympathize with them. They were asking everyone in the neighborhood where I was. I couldn't believe it. After all those years of treating me like crap, now they want to see me to get some money? Screw that. A lot of my old friends called me. They were all worried about me. They told me to stay away from home for a while. They were all on my side. Nobody liked my parents, so I wasn't surprised either. And I didn't give my address to anyone, not even my grandparents, so they had no way of tracking me down. Oh, and my friend told me that my sister was super fat now? I guess they spoiled her. If they want to save money, they should stop feeding her so much. Oh well. Anyways, I had cut all ties with my family when I left, so this was their problem, not mine. I told my girlfriend about this, though, just in case. But there was no way they could track me down. They'd probably have to hire a really good investigator to find me. I don't think they'd go through all that, though. I hope not. Then my girlfriend suggested that we hire an investigator of our own to look into them. I told my girlfriend about my upbringing. She hated my parents for the way they treated me. So I guess she wanted to get some revenge. I didn't really care about my parents anymore, so I let her do her thing. Then, a few months later, they went bankrupt. They couldn't pay off their debt, so the bank took their car and their home. They live in some small, crappy apartment now. My sister was always hungry now.
This is all your fault. Why did you have to adopt me? I should have gone with a family with more money. This is all your fault.
I heard things started to get violent. They were fighting all the time, and it was pretty loud according to the PI. Dad was still out of a job. Mom was working part-time. And my sister took her stress out on food. She was eating like a pig all day, every day. My parents were still trying to find me. But everyone knew about the way they treated me as a kid. So nobody told them. They all had my back. When my girlfriend found out about my past, she cried for me.
How can someone treat their child like that? It makes me sick.
It's over now, so it's fine. I got you now, and that's all I care about. Then she introduced me to her parents. I was never good with parents. I had no idea what to say to them. But they were so kind. I felt so safe around them. No wonder she grew up to be such a kind and caring person. They were nothing like my parents. All my parents ever did was yell at me. Then her parents said,
Can't wait for you to join our family.
We've only been going out for a year, so I was kind of surprised. But I was really happy that they said that to me.
What's wrong? You shy?
What? No, I'm just happy to hear that. I was afraid that they might judge me because of my upbringing, but
I trust my daughter. I'm sure you're a wonderful young man.
I nearly cried from joy. I was so happy to hear that. I had terrible parents, but everyone else was really nice to me. My grandparents sent me money every month to support me after I moved out. I could never thank them enough. I didn't tell them my address, but I called them all the time to stay in touch. I told my grandma about my girlfriend. I called her on FaceTime and introduced her to them. My girlfriend was super nervous, and so were my grandparents. It was kind of funny. But they seemed really happy for me. Seeing them smile like that made me very happy. I wish I could go see them in person, but I couldn't risk my parents finding out where I lived. My girlfriend told me it was okay though. I was so grateful for her. My parents were dead to me, so I honestly don't care what happens to them. They might find me someday and try to leech off of me. But they're not even family anymore, so screw them. And when we have kids of our own, I don't care if it's a boy or a girl. I'm gonna be the best father ever. Can't wait.
I'm Katie. I grew up in a poor family. Dad injured his foot on the job, so Mom had to work to provide for us. But since she was a housewife for many years, she couldn't get a good job. She worked minimum wage at a local grocery store. We were barely making ends meet. But it wasn't all bad. I loved my parents, and they loved me too. Dad couldn't move around much, but he did everything he could around the house, and Mom always thanked him. We all helped each other out, you know? But school was a living hell for me. There was no school lunch at my middle school, so everyone brought their own lunch. Since my family was poor, my lunch was pretty lame compared to everyone else's. It was usually some rice balls. I was embarrassed to eat with others, so I usually ate by myself. But one day, my classmates Allie and Blair came up to me and they said,
What are you eating? That's so lame. Who eats rice balls these days?
Yeah, that's so lame. Are you poor or something? What's wrong with you?
Oh, don't be mean. Her family is super poor.
They always made fun of me, but there was this boy who always stood up for me.
Stop it, you two!
His name was Bob. He was one of the popular kids. He was handsome and good at sports. He was way out of my league, but he always stood up for me. He was so nice. Hey now, it's true, my family's poor, so... It's okay. They were only kidding, so...
Yeah, we're just kidding.
Yeah, we're friends.
Yeah, they both had a crush on Bob. So they didn't like it when he talked to me.
Hey, Bob, want to hang out with us this weekend?
Yeah, come on.
Sure. Hey, Katie, want to tag along?
Huh? Me? Allie and Blair were glaring at me. It was clear that they didn't want me to come.
Oh, I'm sure she's busy. Maybe next time.
Oh, come on. It'll be more fun. The theme park in the next town over is letting students in for half the price right now. We gotta go. Come on.
Okay. I wanted to go, so I said yes. Allie and Blair scared me, but I liked Bob too. I couldn't resist. But now, I needed money for the ticket and the train fare. I knew I couldn't ask my parents for money, so I checked my piggy bank, but it wasn't enough. Then, Mom came up to me and said,
What's wrong, dear?
I didn't want to trouble her, so I kept quiet at first, but she kept asking me, so I decided to tell her.
Sounds great. Have fun, dear.
But the money!
Oh, no worries about that. Here.
Mom gave me some money for the theme park. A few days later, I went over to the station to meet with everyone. Allie and Blair were already there. Their clothes were really pretty. My outfit was pretty lame compared to theirs, so I was embarrassed. Then Bob showed up.
Sorry I'm late.
Oh, it's fine.
Bob, hey!
Allie and Blair started walking with Bob. They talked to him non-stop on the train. I just stood next to them and stared out the window. The theme park was a lot of fun. We rode all kinds of rides. Then we got some churros and sat down.
Hey, want a drink? I'll go get something.
Huh? Oh,
My treat. What do you want to drink?
thanks. Can I get some orange juice then?
I want Coke.
Grape soda for me.
All right, be right back.
As soon as he left, they stood in front of me.
How did you come up with the money?
Yeah, I bet you stole it from someone else.
What? No, Whatever. Listen, you're annoying us. Can you just leave? We'll tell Bob that you're feeling sick or something. Just go, okay?
Yeah, and your outfit is so lame. I can't believe you decided to come with those.
Their words really got to me. I was so upset. I just wanted to cry, but then...
Stop it, you two! What the hell is wrong with you?
What? We were just telling the truth.
Yeah, her family is poor.
I just kept my head down. I was too embarrassed to look up, but then he grabbed my hand.
Fine. You know what? If she's leaving, I'm leaving too.
What? Bob, wait!
Then Bob and I started walking away from them.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. I had a lot of fun, really. I better go.
I had a lot of fun, too. I wish they weren't here. I wanted to come here with you. Just the two of us, you know?
I was surprised to hear that.
So, can we start over? Come on.
Sure. It was the best day of my life. It was like a dream come true. When I got home, my mom said to me,
Hey, dear, you have fun?
Yeah.
Good to hear. We haven't been to the theme park in a while now. Glad you had fun.
Thanks. It was the best day of my life. 10 years later, there was a class reunion. I didn't want to attend at first, but I decided to go at the last minute. But when I saw Allie and Blair, I didn't know what to do. Maybe I should have stayed home. But I don't think they noticed me. Maybe they won't realize I'm here as long as I stay away from them. But then...
Katie?
Katie! Hey, look at your handbag. That looks pretty expensive. Let me guess, you stole it again.
Actually...
I know. You borrowed it from a friend, didn't you? You're so pathetic.
But then...
Katie! I told you I'd pick you up. How did you get here?
Huh? What the?
It was Bob. He was all grown up now.
Wait, you two are dating? Since when?
Is that a ring?
Dating? No, we're married. She stayed the night at my parents' house. She's pregnant, too. I told her I'd pick her up after work, but...
They froze up. Oh, the doctor said it's fine. No worries.
Wait, wow, you married her? Why? She's dirt poor, and she's pregnant. What the hell?
Poor? What do you mean?
Katie is super poor. She had to borrow a designer's bag from a friend.
What are you talking about? That's her bag. I gave it to her myself.
They were speechless. Bob started his own business in college. Thanks to him, my parents and I were no longer poor. I guess everything kinda worked out. Thank goodness.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.